So good evening. My name is Shazia Khan, and the unit that we're doing today is the health and safety law, regulation and influence. And today we'll be looking at learning outcome 3 and the assignment discussion. But before I go into that, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what we did in learning outcome 1 and learning outcome 2, and then we'll start with learning outcome 3. So in learning outcome 1, we looked at understanding international frameworks for legislation, regulation, and enforcement. And here we looked at elements of the International Labour Organization, which is referred to as ILO. We looked at the ILO background, history of health and safety regulations. We looked at the role of legislation, why it's so important when it comes to health and safety issues. We looked at the relationship of health and safety policy. We also looked at the role of health and safety executive and the UK authorities. We looked at the international benchmarks of standards, so why it's important to have standards in place. We also looked at the enforcement as a principle and the role of auditing in securing health and safety issues. Okay, so we looked at the ILO and how the whole point of the ILO is to promote like social justice and shape the global labour standards for everyone and different member states, and how it works with member states to make sure that they shape this up. We then went on to learning outcome 2, which was looking at understanding statutory and regulatory obligations for maintaining health and safety in an organisation. And here we looked at the evaluation of unique organisational health and safety obligations, and we looked at courses for you. We also looked at the role of quality management systems and how they underpin health and safety, issues around there, and any strategies to enforce, implement health and safety policies. We also looked at compliance and how there were so many challenges for organisations to, the impact of significant improvements in health and safety in the workplace, and how they can try to prevent any sort of reductions in workplace accidents and fatalities. We also looked at elements of the legislation in learning outcome 2 and also the role of legislation. We then went on to look at the relationship of health and safety policies in a workplace and how it's so important for organizations to implement management systems and procedures. It's so important that organizations do that. Some of the stuff I heard from you, Marius, was some organizations don't do that. Don't implement good policies and procedures before. But they have a legal obligation to do that. We also looked at the Health and Safety Executive, which is the HSE, and we concentrated on the UK, which is the Health and Safety Executive, and the local authorities in regards to health and safety as well. That was learning outcome 2 in regards to that. Now we're going to go on to learning outcome 3, which looks at the understanding the industry and community roles in influencing and promoting local and national positive health and safety outcomes. Why is it so important, Marius, for different organizations to work together to try and promote and implement policies within health and safety? Why do you think it's so important for everyone to work together?
Well, I will give you an example about, let's say, 1 year and a half ago, we had an explosion on the mild hydrocracking unit. No fatalities, just like $20 million because the installation was taken out from service for 9 months. And when you have like a big explosion, we have our own private firefighting units, private. But usually in case of industrial explosion, like on a refinery, of course, the state and the military, firefighting are coming for intervention. The civil one, the private ones are just for, I don't know. Usually they don't intervene too much, just for cooling. In that moment, we are keeping in touch because in case of an emergency like this, we are going to involve also the firefighting, the civil protection, the prefecture, the mayorship, also some, part of the environmental guard protection. So all the community role is almost non-existent in Romania. Believe me,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like zero.
yeah.
But at the same time, our activities impact the community. So that's why we are investing a lot of money in, improving the schools,
Yeah,
upgrading.
the infrastructure, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Also, we give some by free sponsor some the firefighting unit, the government
Mm,
ones with the new
mm,
firefighting cars,
yeah,
brand new equipment because we need them in case of something, and that's why. So we are with community more or less with, like I said, more with authorities and less with community, especially in our industry.
yeah.
Community
It's
is,
very important for organizations to collaborate with each other. Sometimes they don't, but it's
and
very
also
important.
yes, we have with other companies around us because everything that we have an impact on others. We also have utilities from other companies. So yeah, we are going in touch every time we have like
Yeah.
this crisis cell.
Okay, yeah. So we're moving on to looking at indicative content. So what we're going to look at learning outcome 3. So communities of influence, organizational engagement. We're going to look at the influence in communities of influence and changing of communities and social media. We're going to also be looking at ethical and social responsibilities, the industry's role models, campaigns, corporate governance, self-regulation, setting targets beyond any sort of standards and continuous improvement. We're going to look at the role of industry and community in influencing and promoting local and national positive health and safety outcomes is essential. We're going to use the example that we've used of courses for you. So we look at the industry roles and why it's so important. So industry and community roles are crucial for any sort of organisation promoting health and safety, because it's there to develop any sort of policies and provide training and foster this, this culture of courses, um, this culture of safety. And, through organized industry organization, the example is courses for you. They contribute to development of guidelines, things like codes of practice, standards that need to promote best practice. We then have the element of sharing best practice. So why industries should share best practice, for any sort of organization. And it's really important that they share best practice because, that's things like, making sure that they've got safety committees and suggestion systems, making sure they analyze, they've got forums in place to discuss things, networking, that's really important, making sure that, they are on top of things when it comes to health and safety to try to reduce any sort of, workplace risks. So they try to share best practice. You've got training and education, and again, that's really important. You need training and education because, to comply with any sort of um, regulations, but any sort of elements of preventing any accidents, you need to have training and educated, and you need to overall make the workplace safety culture. So you employers need to, make sure they've trained people, make sure they've got, the new recruits they get, they've trained them to a level that they're able to make and promote the actual workplace to being safe. And Courses for You does that with offering training courses and promoting a culture of safety. They do that by getting new people to obviously get them trained. We then have advocacy and representation. And, in regards to that, Courses for You, they have a voice. When you're an advocate, you act as a collective voice for everyone, and you discuss things with government agencies, and you try to advocate their interest, and to try to promote growth and industry, and you try to lobby things and network because you want to try to make an impact on something. And Courses for You do that. They have a voice where it concerns things like policy making, health and safety considerations, and takes into account any sort of policy decisions. Community roles is another one. Why do you think community has a big impact on the role of health and safety? Why do you think the community plays a big role?
I told you, in Romania it doesn't have any kind of role. Zero, absolutely zero.
Really?
Yes. Why?
Yeah.
I will give you the ask why. It's a
Okay.
law requirement? No, it's not. So if it's not a law requirement or a standard requirement,
Mm.
you know, in health and safety, how the community impact me? Please answer my
Yeah.
question. How?
Yeah, but I think the whole point of the community impacting on it is because, you need to make them aware through education, support networks, feedback systems,
No,
and make the
it's
place.
my health and safety, my company health and safety.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
community can impact mine. The
yeah. But
community,
I think what they want to do is when it comes to health and safety, is try to raise awareness and promote this culture of safety, making people aware through outreach projects, making the public aware campaigns of any health and safety risks around the area and make resources available for them.
for health, yes. I mean, we have the only civil, there is some area like one city and two villages around us.
Yes,
And the only civil protection, let's say, how to say it, in case of, let's say, a war against Russian Federation. I'll
yes,
give you an example
yeah,
because we are very possible. We are going to give the alarm. So the one city with, well, small city, 40,000 population, believe me, it doesn't have a horn in case of an air attack. Doesn't
yeah,
have a sound, zero.
yeah,
So that's why when we have like civil, let's say, training, we are
yeah,
having also, yes, so the community knows that if they're going to hear a sound like, 20 seconds, 10 consecutive sounds, it's an air attack or something like this. So yeah, in a way but we more so it's just informing. We are going to inform them, but we don't receive any information from them, any feedback from
yeah,
them.
yeah. It's just it's raising awareness within the community,
Yes, yes,
and
we made them aware,
yeah,
but we don't receive, like, I mean, we don't accept anything feedback from them. Just, we
yeah,
just inform them, but
yeah.
one-way communication is not a two-way communication.
Yeah. And then you've got like supporting vulnerable groups, things like, people that are children, elderly people, they are anyone who's disabled or who's prone to have any accidents. And, like courses for you, they work with the organizations and charities to make sure these people are safe as well. So it impacts on them as well. You have environmental stewardship. So that's things like, anyone that actively is a stewardship, which is closely linked to health and safety outcomes. So cleanup events, keeping the neighborhood safe, keeping the air and water away from pollution and things like that. Advocacy for safer spaces. So this is in regards to making sure that any sort of public spaces, infrastructure support health and safety and well-being. And courses for you do that by initiatives by designing and making sure there's safe environments for everyone, playgrounds, parks, recreation area for children and for people to go around. So, in conclusion, when we look at industry and community, they both play a really significant role within, health and safety, and they have a crucial role. People need to implement policies; they need to be trained, and the community needs to be aware of all the safer practices that are in place. So, they do play a big part in it. Then we've got the next one is outline the function of professional and employer bodies, trade associations, media, community groups, and organizational partnerships influencing and promoting positive health and safety outcomes. And here we're going to look at professional and employer bodies and why they're so important when it comes to it. And they are important as because they advocate, they're part of it, and they're there to maintain safety. And then we look at the element of setting standards. Why is it so important to set standards? So, it comes to professional bodies need to set standards. If we have standards in place, people will follow them and people will work towards them standards and, policies that are in place. And some people won't work towards them, but most people tend to work towards these, standards and things. Then we have professional development, and this is things like training, making sure people are trained, making sure there's courses available for them, the skills, health, and professionals out there to encourage. And the example is courses for you. They encourage lots of up-to-date courses all the time, industry changes, any sort of regulatory changes to make sure that they're on top of it and make sure they're trained to a certain level. Then you've got advocacy and representation, and that's for the interests of their members, they represent them in discussions, any policy making, and they're upholding any sort of standards and providing support. So that could be protecting the public, it could be codes of practice, and courses for you influence that with elements of it. The next one is quite an interesting one, is trade associations. What is a trade association?
Well, I'm a member of a trade of association. It's called
Yeah,
energetical syndicate. In Romania, it's called syndicate.
yeah.
Syndicate, yes. And there are two, yes, the petrochemical syndicate and energetical syndicate. I'm part of the
Okay.
energetical syndicate.
And
So
why do you think trade associations play
well,
a
it's
big
important
part
because
in
yes, because
health
my
and
colleague, which
safety?
is a firefighting inspector in the Seveso person, he is the vice president of the syndicate. And last Thursday, we had a safety committee every 3 months, every quarter.
Yes,
And part of the safety committee are part of the worker representatives who are also leaders inside this trade union. So they come with a lot of things. PPE, they don't like PPE, and no one likes
yeah,
PPE, but they say,
yeah,
well, yes, every
yeah,
time it's this the same discussion about PPE.
yeah,
After that, lack of, which is important, we have this new power plant, but we don't have work instructions. I mean, not by health and safety, by operational point of view. I mean, they don't have the manuals how to operate the installation, and installation is ready. So of course
mm,
they put some complaint, because if you don't know how to operate an installation in case of an emergency, you need to close one pump, you need to open that tank. If you don't have this kind of training, and also to enter in the state of like a machine, to
yeah,
repeat the same all over again, it can be kind of problematic. And the trade union raised this issue a few days ago. So I know, because it's quite powerful in the Rome Petrol. The trade union is very powerful.
yes,
It's more powerful than any health and safety executive
yes,
or etc. No, trade union is the
yeah,
most powerful by far, because we have a strike 2 years ago for one day,
yeah,
and they didn't like it too much. And every time we have some issues with safety or other things, usually we are saying, okay, if you don't, answer our questions, if we don't meet, on a table to hear us, then we can have a big problem, like a new strike. So yeah, I know what the trade
yeah.
association.
Trade associations, are there to help people and experiences, and also, operate in a sector where they can help individuals network and make sure they are, helping people as well. And courses for you provide resources in knowledge sharing as well. So trade associations advocate for policy. Like you said, sometimes they have an impact on government agencies. They work with different policies, they work with government agencies to collaborate and make sure that health and safety initiatives have been put in place so that everyone is secure and they have a voice. It's really important that individuals have a voice. Then we have media and community groups, and these are vital for raising any sort of health and safety awareness through coverage, public campaigns. They can be doing things like, making sure that they are raising any awareness, and they are campaigning any sort of announcements or platforms, and making sure they are raising awareness about health and safety issues. And they are really important to make sure that they have things like news coverage, and courses for you can partner with media groups to amplify health and safety messages to get it out there.
And
We
sometimes
have
I
outreach.
hear, excuse me, sometimes I
Yeah,
hear from the news on an
yeah,
incident happening inside our own refinery
yeah,
before me as an
yeah,
HSC. Believe me,
yes,
I
yeah,
hear before from the news than from my manager.
yeah,
They are
yeah, it's
much,
true.
much
Yes,
faster. They are much faster.
yeah. And then you have education and outreach. And this is really important because education is there to make sure you have resources, workshop available to inform the public about any sort of health and safety risks, and resources available for them, maybe for outreach stuff, and courses for you collaborate to make sure they have educational materials in place. We then have organizational partnerships, collaboration, and organization partnership courses for you. They collaborate with different industry, government agencies, and make sure they collaborate on health and safety issues, and make sure they allow for the pooling of any resources. And they work together, for example, government agencies, if they need any resources or anything, to make sure that everything to promote this health and safety outcomes. Resource sharing. Resource sharing is really important when it comes to health and safety, because if you can resource share with other organizations and make sure you network with other organizations to make sure you achieve everything collaboratively together, you combine knowledge and you have shared experiences. So it's really good to achieve that. And courses for you work in partnership with additional funding or people with specialist knowledge. So, in conclusion, professional and employer bodies work together to collaborate and make sure they are working together to influence each other, like maybe influence the government or make sure they promote any sort of policies for health and safety. And courses for you do that. They collaborate, engage with stakeholders to make sure that they're enhancing any sort of awareness and creating this safer environment for everyone. 3.2, we look at outline the ethical and social responsibilities of organisations to develop high standards of health and safety. And it's really important for organisations to make sure that they have developed this high standard, because they have a duty of care, and they need to do risk assessments to stakeholders, to make sure that people are participating and make sure that everyone is following the policies and regulations. Protecting human life and dignity, and that's a huge part of health and safety. You have to protect lives of the individuals to provide this safer environment, to provide this health and safety issues, provide a safe, healthy working environment, no hazards, risk from discrimination, harassment, exploitation. And this is upholds one of the ethical standards, but also is making sure that you are providing this safe and healthy environment. And courses for you must prioritize the safety and well-being of all employees and contractors as well. Preventing harm and injury, and that's really important when it comes to you having a duty of care to ensure that everyone is safe and implementing any sort of measures to prevent any sort of accidents and injuries. Make sure that if there's any sort of dangers in the workplace, you mitigate them and you try to put safeguards in place. Some organizations are good at doing that, some organizations not so good at doing that. Putting things like safeguards in place to try to prevent the accidents happening again. And it's a legally, morally thing that you should do that as an organization. And courses for you proactively identify, address health safety issues to make sure everyone is safe. Promoting health and well-being, again, it's really important to make sure that you are promoting health and well-being. And it's one of the core corporate social responsibility that you as an organization have that duty of care to promote health and well-being of their stakeholders. It could be employers, it could be customers, it could be supporters, it could be the local community, but you have this legal compliance, and you need to make sure that your business runs smoothly on the basis of promoting health and well-being. And C4U promote this by applying, having EAPs in place, which is employer assistance programs, wellness workshops, and mental health resources for the staff. Again, one of the important factors is complying with laws and regulations. It's organizations must comply with a legal and ethical obligation with health and safety laws, regulations, because it's part of the law, which is a requirement and again a duty of care. And this is an obligation that everyone follows all the legislation, ensures that the workplace is safe and promotes training and information. So maintaining a safe environment and facilities, any sort of equipment, and make sure they're safe. Health courses for you comply with relevant health and safety inspectors to make sure everything is reviewed and everything is promptly done as well. Then we've got the transparency and accountabilities. Now, organizations are responsible for transparency and accountability for health, safety, performance practices and decisions. So this means that they're open about how they manage health and safety, explain decisions, and accept any sort of responsibility for outcomes, to ensuring if it's a safe place, because you have to be transparent and accountable for what happens in your organization. A lot of people like to blame other people, Marius, in the organization. The CEO might want to blame the manager might want to blame the staff, but accountability is really important. I don't know, Marius, what you think of that, because I think it's really important part of, any organizations.
Yes, the director is always right.
Yeah. Yeah, director is always right, yes. Yeah, you can't do anything right, they do everything right. Yes, keep it
Yes, sir.
shush.
Yes, yes, we will do.
That's
Yes,
how it works, yes. That's in every organization. Most organizations, Marius, that you have to keep shush.
yes. If you comment too much, it's not so good.
Yes,
It's,
yes, it's true, yes. Um, continuous improvement. So, organizations have an ethical obligation to continuously improve their health and safety performance. So, to protect their employers, to make sure that they're maintaining goals, monitoring indicators, evaluation, and addressing any deficiency. And courses for you prioritize continuous improvement in health and safety for past, experience benchmarking against industry. So, in conclusion, courses for you have ethical and social responsibility to help standards of health and safety. They have to promote any organization, and not just courses for you, have to maintain human life and dignity, have to prevent any sort of harm and injury, make sure they improve the health and safety performance. And, they have to demonstrate commitment to ethical business practices and make sure they have corporate social responsibility and the well-being of the stakeholders. The next one is looking at assessing the role of corporate governance and self-regulation in supporting continual improvement of organizational health and safety standards. Here we're going to look at setting clear policies. So if clear policies are in place and there's a framework in place, then it's safer for the individual. Setting clear policies, guidelines, making sure who's accountable. Mechanisms need to be put in place to make sure who is accountable for it and what their core management is. Clear objectives need to be put in place to provide guidance and direction for health and safety initiatives with organizational goals and values. Ensuring compliance and making sure that everyone has is there's risk assessments done. Mechanisms need to be put in place to make sure risk management is done to promote this effective practice. And boards and executive committees should be overseeing health and safety efforts to monitor regulatory and assess any sort of health and safety risks at work. They need to have audits in place. They need to make sure everyone is proactive on health and safety issues. Again, accountability and transparency. It promotes the accountability, being open, being responsible, adequate, having adequate resources in place to monitor any sort of objectives, and self-regulation involving health and safety performance, any sort of near misses, risk assessment, making sure you're fostering this confidence, trust, and confidence in your organization's health and safety policies. Promoting a culture of safety. So, corporate governance frameworks, making sure you're promoting this culture of being safe, and it's leading by example. So, fostering an open communication, trust. Trust is a big thing, and collaboration, making sure you're getting all employees involved, regardless of their job, what level they are. You are getting everyone involved and contributing to any sort of health and safety improvements. Because you shouldn't really be saying, oh, because you're at a lower level in your job, we shouldn't get you to contribute. Contribution is a good thing, and making people aware. So continuous improvement. Corporate governance encourages continual improvement standards through monitoring, self-regulation, which we mentioned earlier, and feedback as well. Adapting to change. So corporate governance frameworks support organizations' ability to respond to health and safety risks and challenges. Boards and management teams should adopt changes. Why do you think they should adopt changes to any sort of changes to the organization health and safety policies?
well, we already started on the environmental and sustainability part.
Yeah,
So we already, there's a new target by European Union by 2030, and also we need to, if you are making 70 megawatts using natural gas. You need to build something to make 70 megawatts in maximum 10 years by green power energy. So most of our target is on environmental sustainability part. Then with the regulatory changes, also they change the NOxes, the SOx and NOx, the sulfur oxide, and as we have a lot of new technologies like filters, changing the equipment, a lot of investment. But the main problem is that we are going to lose. It's nice on paper, but we are going to lose against China an enormous, because we have all these nice regulations, which are great on paper, but for the economy and for us, eventually we're going to be very bad. It's nice on the short term, very bad in the long term. Yes, for the environment, it's great, but in the same time, it's very possible that our product will be more and more expensive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yes.
It's very important that all this is, taken on board, when you're looking at health and safety regulations and adapting to change, making sure that changes are, a big part of it.
This alarm part as low as reasonably practicable, because you're not going to invest an enormous amount of money to prevent, let's say, one LTI. It's clear that. But also, yes, we have the industry trends. We are looking everything. This new plant, like I told you, we are building a new plant. Everything is automatic with a lot of layers of control. So yeah, we have this kind of anticipate and adapt to changes. Everything is state of the art equipment, on safety, sensors, etc., etc. So yes, we are keeping in with industry trends and the new technology. Also, we are using artificial intelligence now, but mostly for preventing a phishing attack. Like I told you, we have a huge problem with attacks from Russia, so on energy sector and phishing and etc.
On to mute. Sorry about that. It went on to mute. So it's really important for organizations to adapt to change, because change is a big part. There might be technological changes. Technology changes a lot, Marius. So do you think it impacts on health and safety if technology changes quite a lot?
Yes, in a good way.
How?
Well, I told you now.
Yeah.
We have sensors for everything. You don't need anymore to enter in a confined space or to send someone without to take that, the level of oxygen, etc. Everything is remote. Also, we have small equipment like drones with on crawling drones. Entry with cameras inside the reactors. Then you can see everything what's inside. 5 years ago, you have to send a guy with self-contained breathing apparatus with a flashlight to see what's inside. Now we have like robots. Also have like a mobile for firefighting unit with foam launchers. Also like a small robot. It's small. It's not small. It's like a 2 meters. It's something that we brought from Japan. It was something with a patent on Japan. This patent maybe 10 years ago. Now we have this kind of equipment. Send it. We have a lot of reservoirs for diesel, for gasoline, gas spheres, and we are sending this like say small robots to use the water, yes, to cool and to have to make like a bound around it. Yes, so we have this technology. It's
And technology is very, very good for certain things and not so good for other
also
things.
to prevent, and also in case of an emergency, like I told you.
Yes,
you can check now with sensor. We can have drones, etc. So we don't use the people to send it in a field in fire.
Yeah. So, when we look at corporate governance and self-regulation, they play a big part in supporting continual improvement of organization standards. And by setting policies and objectives in place, we are making sure that we're fostering this culture of safety and making sure that everyone is changing, adapting to change, and making sure that everyone's contributing and managing any sort of health and safety risks. So that's learning outcome 3. These are some of the references here that you can look at, and there's also further reading on there and ebooks on Moodle that's available for you. Okay, so that's learning outcome 3, and now we're going to go into the assignment discussion session. Okay, so let me just cancel that learning outcome 3. So we've got that out of the way, and then the assignment discussion session. I'll share that with you now. So how am I going to share that? Let's have a look. Right, let's see if I can share the assignment discussion session. Assignment discussion session. Where is that assignment discussion session? Oh, there it is. So I'm sharing. Can you see this now? Assignment discussion session. Can you see these slides, Marius?
Yes, I can see them.
Excellent. So we're just going to look at the assignment discussion session. So just a little bit on the learning outcomes that you've got for this unit are understanding international framework for legislation and regulation and enforcement, which is learning outcome 1. And then learning outcome 2 is understanding statutory regulatory obligations for maintaining health and safety in an organization. And learning outcome 3, understanding the industry and community roles in influencing and promoting. So the unit aim is to give learners an understanding of international frameworks for health and safety legislation and how these frameworks are set and obligations for organisations that need to comply with them. The learner will explore the role played by industry, professional bodies and media communities to influence the promotion of positive health and safety outcomes locally and nationally and globally. So here's assignment declaration, and I think you've seen this before, haven't you, Marius? It's an assignment declaration in regards to when you do your assignment, you are declaring that the work is your own, and you've read the policy for plagiarism and malpractice, and you haven't used AI. Yeah,
Yes,
do you
something like
understand
this,
that?
not
Yeah.
like this, but a bit different.
Yeah, it's a declaration just to say that the work is your own. You are signing and confirming that your work is your own and that you've not copied anyone's work, and this is your own work. You've not copied, you've quoted everything, you've used Harvard referencing. Why do you think it's so important that you you read the plagiarism report, the policy on it?
Well,
Marius, why do you think it's important that it's your own work?
after 4 master's degree, believe me,
Yeah,
I was checked every time by
yeah,
software and by
yeah. It's so important that you declare that the work is your own and you haven't copied anyone else's work, because you get done for malpractice then.
yes. Well, the most important thing is that
Yeah, because if you start, Marius, if you start copying people's work, it's not your
no.
own work.
First of all, believe me, this course
Yeah,
I pay 1,000 and something pounds.
yes,
Yes.
yeah,
Why to give my money, which is I'm from Romania, I'm
excellent.
not a rich person, believe me.
It's
I
true,
want to give
very true, very true. So
my
you have
money
to,
to someone
yes,
to steal for someone work for what?
yes,
Paying money
it's
to learn
true.
something, to think about it.
Yeah,
Of course, you search the internet because we cannot have access with books. We don't have books anymore.
yes, yes,
Of
yes,
course, to look for standards, you use your own standards, your own procedures from. Because I'm very lucky working in this company. For me, it's quite easy
yes,
until now. But
yeah,
also, you need to make these connections between us.
yes,
And the most
very,
important thing, I found a lot of things that we're lacking as a company. I didn't tell to my manager now. I will tell after I finish the diploma. Not now.
yeah.
So there are things
It's so
like
important because
this
you
need
work
to happen.
hard for this, and then if someone does that, then it's no good. So what information needs to go on your assignment? So your name, your registration number, your tutor's name, you can put that on if you want. Your word count for this assignment is 4,000 words, the date of submission and the unit level, which is 6. Again, plagiarism and collusion, you have to submit your own work. Make sure it's your own work. Make sure it's not anyone else's work. Make sure that you are, because you are signing the declaration, you've read the academic misconduct policy on Moodle, and make sure you've read that policy in regards to it. Okay. This is just some general information that the UK Varsity is taught online, and the app, the VLE, which is the virtual learning environment, is Moodle, where all the resources will be available for you and any sort of material. At the start of the assignment, you need a table of contents, font size 12. It needs to be 1.5 line spacing. Page numbers need to be inserted because when you do a contents page, you need to put the page numbers in. Also, it needs to be Microsoft Word format, not Google format. And I think you
Excuse
can
me,
download it on that
excuse
app
me,
free
can I
that I've
share
put
my
there.
screen?
Yeah.
Can I share my screen?
Can you share your screen? I
Yes,
don't know if you can. Do you want to
I
try
don't
to
think I
share?
can.
You
Yes.
can?
The host is allowing multiple presenters sharing for its meet.
Yeah. Should I stop my screen and you can see if you can share it?
Yes, yes, just to show you
Okay.
something.
Okay. See if you can share it now. I've stopped the screen.
Can you see it?
Yes, yes, yes.
Look, this is the assignment unit 4. I finished 4. Now I will finish 5.
Okay. Yeah, it's
So
excellent. That's how you do it. That structure is
yes,
nice.
look,
Very
this part
nice.
is to me. That's why it's not.
It
It's.
needs to be a professional looking document, and that looks very professional. Good.
Oh, I already received the feedback. I already passed it. I passed all my first 4 units from my first attempt, which is good.
Oh,
Now,
that's very good, Marius. Very good.
so this is what. That's why. Look here on introduction. It's
No,
one.
you work hard. You work hard, Marius, and you achieve everything, which
And
is
look,
good.
if you look at it's part of like introduction, raw petrol energy. It doesn't.
Yes,
I'm using a lot of look this part of references. Of course, the
yeah.
standard, you know,
Harvard referencing, yeah,
and then you have a lot of internal,
yeah,
and it's very hard. I mean, people who are starting to steal it, like we discuss about
yes,
plagiarism, it's wrong. First of all, because
yes,
this yes is going to help you if you
yes,
receive a diploma. If
yes.
you
It's
have
true.
nothing in your head, you
You
know.
will only learn, Marius, if you get things wrong.
Yep.
That's the only way you're gonna learn. That's very good, Marius. Very good.
Okay.
Thank you. That was really good. Right, I'll just share that window now. Okay, so some more information on it, and then Harvard referencing is what you'll be using, which you know how to reference using Harvard referencing. The assignment brief and guidance now. So for task 1 of 2 report, it needs to be a report assessment criteria 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 2.1, 2.3, and 2.2. So this assignment, this task 1 is to do with learning outcome 1 and 2. Okay. So the first one you've got to look at is, oops, sorry about that. You've got to do the following. So instructions are evaluate the organization's compliance with statutory and regulatory obligations against national and international standards. So here you will be looking at the following. So you look at an evaluation, statutory and regulatory obligations applicable to the organization. So you have to choose an organization, okay? So it's best if you do this and you put this as a heading, because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 parts to task 1. Okay. So if you do this, put it as a heading, don't change the wording, and write the answer under it. The second part is an evaluation of workplace health and safety regulations relating to input, output of products, services, contractors, visitors, equipment, goods, materials, and other activities. That's one. The third part is a detailed description of challenges to maintain compliance with health and safety regulation unique to the organization that you're talking about. Then the next one is an outline of the role of the International Labour Organization. And then the next one is an explanation of how internal conventions can be used to set health and safety legislation and framework. And that is in learning outcome 2. The next one is an evaluation of the benefits, limitations of national legislation in securing organizational health and safety standards. You will then look at the next one, which is an evaluation of the standards, effectiveness of a range of national and international health and safety bodies to secure health and safety standards. And then that one is an explanation of the purpose of the principle of enforcement of health and safety legislation and regulations. And then finally, you will look at this task, a review of effectiveness of health and safety of a range of safety audits techniques against national and international standards. Now, for that task 1 is task learning outcome 1 and 2. You need to do it in a report format, okay, in Word document, and it needs to be 2,500 words. So make sure you are adhering to the word count, and make sure you are reading what the question is asking you. Okay, are you okay with that task 1 so far, Marius?
Yes, I'm quite 99% finished with Unit
Excellent,
5.
excellent. So make sure you check the word count, make sure you are adhering,
Yes.
make sure it's in Word format. And the structure that you've shown me, it looks okay. Okay, so don't worry about that. That structure looks perfect. Okay, task 2 of 2, report assessment criteria
One
3.
question, excuse me. I
Yeah.
don't have this, this presentation is not on, it's
Okay,
not on,
I can email you this, Marius.
I don't, it's not on the website.
No, I've just done this myself. I've
It
made
doesn't
it
matter.
for
No, no, no,
you.
it's okay because it's quite clear.
Yeah, I've
So
made it
no,
for you, but I'll send you an email with it, Marius.
if you like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'll do is you send me an email today
Mhm.
saying hello, it's Marius, and then I will send you one back. Okay, I will give you my email address at the end. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So task 2 of 2 is to do with learning outcome 3. Here, the instructions are you review the organization's understanding of industry and community roles in influencing and promoting positive health and safety at local and national level.
I
Here
just
you
put
will
it
look at the
on
following.
the chat, my email.
Excellent, thank you. So here you will look at the following, and there's 3 things to do in this part. So if you look at the assignment, there's 3 parts to do. Okay, the first one is in this one is learning outcome. The second task you have to cover 3 parts. Okay, so the 3 parts that you have to cover are first. Just 1 minute, let me go back to the tasks. An outline of the role of professional and employer bodies, trade associations, media and community group,
Mhm.
organization partnerships in influencing and promoting health and safety standards. Now we've just looked at this, okay? So you will look at each one individually with reference to different things that we've just looked at on employers, on trade associations, on the media, on community groups in regards to things like, adapting to change, setting standards, things like that you would look at in learning outcome 3. Then you would look at an ethical and social responsibility of organizations to develop high standards of health and safety. And that's looking at, CSR, and also looking at the responsibility of high standards, ethical issues and social responsibilities, which we've just looked at in learning outcome 3 as well. So you need to be looking at that. And then finally, an assessment of the role of corporate governance and self-regulation in supporting continual improvements of organizational health and safety standards within the organization. And for each one of them, you must do, it must be again in a report format, and it must be 1,500 words. So if you were to identify how many words would you do for each one, Marius, what do you think you would do? 500 each?
Well, it depends on the complexity, depends
Yes.
on
Yeah.
the task that you
Yeah.
need to, check something, check. Every time I made
Yes.
the others, I just look at the checklist
Yes.
like
You
I
might
told
get
you.
more on the first part, Marius, than you may get on the, last part. So, you may need more words. So make sure you are sticking to the word count of
Usually I'm
1,500.
usually I send them a bit over because
Yes,
um,
yeah, it doesn't matter. You have 10% flexibility.
I send more than 10% because the references have is quite big. It needs
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
I prefer to have 1,500 without
Yeah.
references.
The
There in the
references.
procedure it said it's including references, but it's let's see the main body. Like I said, the main body I prefer to have a standard. And then with references, they say instead of 2,000, I have maybe 2,300, 2,400. Because if you put also the
To have
title,
an introduction and a conclusion as well at the
exactly.
end.
Usually I have
Okay?
like introduction, conclusion, no, but references, introduction,
Yes. Yes.
titles usually are more. That's why I maybe put maybe 20% more than the
Yes.
standard.
So it's
But yeah,
very good to have an introduction in any assignment you do and a conclusion. Okay.
yes,
So
conclusion is
these are have you
mine.
got any questions on this part of the assignment, task 2?
No. Like I told you 3 days ago, when I made my draft, I forgot
Yes.
about ILO, and that's why I just put it back on the. I have no reference on the ILO, and this I remember. Oh, I have to say something about ILO. That's why now I'm okay with it. I will send it tomorrow to the
Yeah.
assessor.
And the references you need to use for everything is the referencing Harvard system of referencing, which you need to use for everything. Okay, so make sure you use that for all of it, and make sure you are using. And I know I can, with your work, you can tell you have used the Harvard system, which is really good, which you've shown me. Okay. Assignment guidance and support. Again, this is some parts are repetition, introduction, conclusion, which we've spoke about. Referencing, if you struggle with that, there's a online site called Neil's Toolbox, which will do it all for you. If you're using diagrams, make sure you reference them. Make sure you have a bibliography or a reference list and it's in alphabetical order. If you are using examples, make sure you are applying them. Make sure you are not changing the wording of the assignment. So what task one is asking you, leave it as task one. Don't change any wording. Give proper headings and subheadings. So make the document look presentable and make it look professional. Follow the numbering in the assignment. So don't do task one first. Sorry, don't do task two first. Do task one. Make sure you are following the assignment. Ensuring that you have enough references and that you are using Harvard system of references, making sure that you are using that system to help you. And keep a check on your word count. And obviously AI as well, you have a 20% tolerance on AI. Make sure you use, if you use AI, it's below 20%. And your report needs to be 4,000 words. Again, pass or a fail for this unit. And do not use AI software. They don't like you to use it. And following the numbering of the assignment as well, make sure you are sticking to them. Some useful tips: make sure you read the task carefully and focus on what they are asking you and look at the command verbs. Again, Harvard referencing, word count, plagiarism. This is repetition, so you need to identify that you understand your assignment. You need to make sure you're not copying and pasting your work. Make sure you're referencing all your sources. Make sure you check your grammar and you're not using American style grammar. And make sure, if you're using ebooks and journals, you reference them properly. And also, if you're using the slides, make sure you are referencing them properly. And any sort of questions you've got on the assignment, make sure you email learnerwork@ukvarsity.co.uk, and you know that you have to submit your assignment on learnerwork@ukvarsity.co.uk, where you will get a receipt and you can submit it then. So make sure you are submitting everything and checking your grammar and everything on there, because it's really important when it comes to doing your assignment that everything is on board, but also that your work is it's up to it's not you've checked the grammar and everything, because you need to make sure you are checking the grammar and things, because some people will submit assignments without checking any sort of grammar or anything.
Yes,
So you are on top of it.
after my first unit, Mr. The feedback about it, I used Mr. Satar Anjum
Anjum.
Anjum sir.
Yeah,
Telling
yeah,
about
it's Mr. Satar, yeah, it is, yeah.
I use a few words in American, like
Yeah,
organization, told
yeah.
you.
Organization with a Z, yeah,
Yes, and then of
yeah,
course I change grammar because sometimes in a word, sometimes they change from American to English, and now I
yes,
finish it
yes.
in. And
So make sure you
also,
check that.
if
Yeah. Check your grammar, check your use the
yes,
English command verbs, because you're doing an assignment which is
his
English.
feedback sound like
So
this. Referencing, Harvard referencing is correctly applied and sources are academic, including HSC, ISO, and internal documentation. So this is
yeah.
the latest feedback. So
Are you okay with Harvard referencing? Do you know how to do it?
yes, because in Romania we have the same. Maybe
Yeah.
at the beginning, sometimes, but it's not so clear. I mean, sometimes it's like Geneva ISO, but usually I use
Yeah.
International Standardization Organization, and the assessor say it's okay because it's much better to say the city. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's a bit acceptable. Also,
Yeah.
I translated from Romania. I mean, Monitor Oficial is the official
Yeah.
gazette, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. you know,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
finished law school. You know
Yeah.
very well. That's why I translated the monitor official from Romanian to English. So
Yeah.
until now,
So
it's
if you struggle with referencing, there's on that slides, there's a thing called Neil's Toolbox that does it for you.
well until
Can
now
you
in
see
the
that on that slide there?
yes in all the
It's
four.
very good. It's a generator that
Okay.
makes Harvard referencing. You put all the details in and it does it for you.
Well, it's great, but
Yeah.
copy paste. I don't like it.
Yes. Yeah. No, you can learn yourself, Marius. You know, it's very good to learn.
If the Mr. again, I forgot. Okay,
Engine
Satar.
Satar, yeah.
He said until now on 4 units it's okay. I will continue the same. So I won't want to change what is working. So
Yes, yes, yes. No, excellent. Have you got any questions before we finish the session?
no, the last part, the last phrase in red, 2 weeks
Yes.
to mission something. The last slide.
Yes. Yeah, it says you've got 2 weeks,
Yes.
two
What?
weeks, 2 weeks after the completion of the unit. So you've completed the unit today. So
Mhm.
you have 2 weeks to submit the assignment. If you've done it already, you can send it off to learner work.
I don't understand. I
So
still don't
okay,
understand.
when you finish the unit now, we've done learning outcome 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
So then if anyone's doing the assignment now, they will do it after today's session. You get 2 weeks, okay, because you finished everything. But because you've already started on the assignment and done it, you can submit it early if you want.
Oh yes. Okay. That's why.
Yeah,
Super.
that's
Because
just
maybe
anyone
it's for
else.
face to
Marius,
face.
anyone else, if they haven't started it, they get 2 weeks to do it. If you need
Mm.
extra time, you email learner work and ask for extra time.
No,
But we
at the
normally give,
beginning when I discussed with UK Varsity,
yeah,
I was very stressed that I won't finish in 2 years, and now I'm very stressed. I want to finish until Christmas, so not in 2 years. So that's why I'm okay. So about this what we got today, it was a bit of marketing
yeah,
today. Clear, yes, about
yes,
courses for you. It's
yeah,
half course, half marketing, which is the same as UK Varsity because the website are 90% identical.
yeah.
Okay,
But
for
make
me,
if you submitted it, you can submit it early then, Marius.
yes. Okay, what question maybe, but maybe you don't know.
Yeah.
I just look on the website, on the site, maybe I want to continue with environmental and sustainability level 7. Do you have
Okay.
any ideas like the same structure or you
No,
don't?
I don't. I think the best thing for you to do is
Uh,
contact the learner work at UK
yes, I'm
Varsity,
pretty sure. Yes,
and then
after I
just
will.
contact them,
Yes,
and they'll give you all the advice on the assignment areas
yes,
or
because after
what you need to do in it.
if I will, I hope I will finish this until.
You will, you will. You've done really well. So, if do you have any other questions, Marius?
No, 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 no.
Thank you. I've sent you the slides already. If you check your email, I've just sent
Yes,
you them
yes, I
now,
received it.
so you've
Yes.
got them. So if you need anything else, just email me. You've got my email address. And
Okay.
good luck with getting on with the assignment. And it was lovely teaching you, Marius.
Thank you.
Thank you. And good luck with everything. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, bye bye.
Thank
Have a nice
you.
night.
Bye.